Hi, welcome to the Native Wildman channel. Your host Sean Catfish Wilson speaking. And today we're fishing with this Pflueger Patriarch XT carbon fiber handle, EVA foam grips, and a Bass Mojo St. Croix rod, 7'1", medium power, fast action. Now, yes, this is a pretty expensive setup. Do you need a setup this expensive to catch fish? No. Do you need a setup to be good at fishing? This expensive to be good at fishing? No. However, I will say on bait casters, you don't want to skimp out and get super cheap bait casters because they don't function quite as well as a better, higher quality one. That's, I'd say, at least $100 for a decent bait casting reel. Now rods, that's a different story. There's a whole bunch of rods, various prices and whatnot, you name it. That are actually pretty good quality now for some of the more inexpensive rods. And another thing I wouldn't skimp on personally is fishing line. I'd always want to get a decent line. It doesn't have to be braid by any means. For most fishermen, that's a personal preference. It's not like we're all pro fishermen trying to make a living off of it. So you can get by with a Stren or Berkley Trilings monofilament fishing line, which is a lot cheaper than your braids, and it's still good fishing line. I backlashed a wee bit. Excuse me. I'm hoping maybe there's something in here. Normally there is one that's this high. This may be a no fish video, y'all. Oh, let me go over. I'm not sure what brand jig head this is. I found it on the ground. It was still good, so I used it. But the soft plastic is pearl colored KVD paddle tail. And the bass that I on my last fishing video that was short, this is what I caught it off of. Another thing with bait casters is they take a lot of practice to be proficient and good with them. But it's like anything, you want to be good at it, practice. Alright, well, we're going to switch to a different rod for you. Fish with that for a minute or two. And remember, if your rod has a hook keeper, use it. You don't want to risk popping these eyes out by putting your hook through them. And also, you want to try and make sure your rod is as straight as possible. You don't want it to be bowed like a bow, because you're not going to shoot arrows with it. I mean, I suppose you could try. Alright, St. Croix and Pflueger. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you buy a Pflueger, get the President model. It's around $50–$60, and it's one really good reel. I owned one until I broke it. It was starting to mess up anyways. It took 15 years, so in my book, any rod that can last 15 years is or reel that can last 15 years is a good reel worth getting. Yeah, I'm weird. I cast a bait caster with my left hand and a spin cast with my right hand. But that's all okay. And I reel them both with my right hand. Most people said spinning reels up where the handle's on this side and they reel this way. I can't do it. It's not comfortable. I grew up using a Zebco 202 33 Classics, you know, just an inexpensive reel, rod and reel. Team them up with Ugly Stik. That always turned out to be a pretty good combination, Ugly Stik and Zebco. My only problem with Zebcos is unless you get one of the really old ones, I'd always have a problem with burning them out, messing them up. So I'd get maybe 1 or 2 years out of a Zebco on average. But they work. And if you don't fish a lot, then yeah, Zebcos are just fine. They'll last you for longer than that. But if you fish a lot, Zebcos still catch you fish just fine. They just aren't a longevity reel. However, some of their rods are pretty decent as far as longevity. Get out of the water. Alright, so this fishing video is just me casting a rod. Sorry I didn't catch a fish, but I'm gonna stay here fishing. If I catch fish, I'll make a short clip. If not, then well, that's part of fishing. Peace and long life.